The Green Bay Packers, who are 1-1, are going to be facing the Tennessee Titans, who are currently 0-2 in Tennessee. And this is going to be a really good game. And at least in my personal prediction, I think this game is going to be very low scoring because of the two offenses. But if you are brand new, see me for the very first time, hit that subscribe button because it only takes 2 seconds. And if you do like the NFL or if you do like the Packers, I am the channel for you. But let's get into the game preview. The very first thing we're going to be talking about in today's video is the injury report, and the Packers had this huge list and it just came out. I'm recording this at 3:15, so quite literally the Packers injury report just came out. Jordan Love is questionable, Jordan Morgan is ruled out, and Carrington Valentine is doubtful. And of course, Jordan Love is the biggest question for this game because last week there was a very good chance he wasn't going to play, but he was still technically questionable up until Saturday. But this week it seems a lot more 50-50. But in my personal opinion, I don't think he is going to play. I think he is going to be sitting out until the Vikings game. I think a lot of Packers fans agree there. But as of right now, he's ruled questionable, Jordan Morgan out, and Carrington Valentine doubtful. And for the Tennessee Titans, Tyjae Spears is the only one on the injury report. He is questionable, but according to multiple resources, he is most likely going to play. So the Titans are basically very healthy. I think the very first thing we should talk about is the Titans offense. And you know, if it comes to Will Levis, I talked about him many times in my videos. I don't think he's a good quarterback at all. I think this team is very talented with the receivers and a good running back in Tony Pollard. But when it comes to Will Levis, he quite literally cost them both of the games. Last week against the Jets, he had 192 yards, a touchdown, and an interception. He's got sacked 4 times, but overall in the year, he has 2 touchdowns and 3 interceptions. And granted, he did play a really good Bears defense in Chicago. You know, again, I always think that the Bears are always at least a top 10 defense. And then he faced the Jets, who also have a very good defense too. So, you know, you can kind of, look at it like that, saying, oh, he faced a really hard opponent, blah, blah, blah. But overall, the Titans were in really close games both times. And like I said, they literally cost the game right in the last second of the game or last couple minutes of the game. Will Levis is not a good game manager, at least in my opinion. But again, I think this Titans offense is really good with Tony Pollard, Calvin Ridley, of course, DeAndre Hopkins. So they got great weapons all over the place. But when it comes to their offensive line, they are a little bit sus. You can see this photo right here. The new rookie Latham from the left tackle is their best rated player, but when it comes to the left guard and right tackle, the center is okay, but their offensive line is technically a weaker unit because they've given up a lot of sacks. But then again, like I just said a few minutes ago, the teams they played have really good defensive lines. And now we're going to talk about the Packers defense real quick. Of course, we played the Eagles and we have played the Colts, 2 really good offenses and 2 mobile quarterbacks in Anthony Richardson and Jalen Hurts. And the biggest thing to really look at in the Packers defense is how many takeaways we got. We have 6 takeaways, 5 interceptions, and a fumble. The interceptions, we had 7 overall all last year in 17 games, and we already have 5, which is a significant upgrade in only 2 freaking games. You're seeing the grades right here on the screen. Xavier McKinney, the new addition, already has 2 interceptions, but he's graded at 72. Our inside linebackers are not doing too hot, and also our interior defensive line. You can see Kenny Clark with 39.8 and TJ Slayton with a 41.8. Our corners aren't doing too bad, but again, the Packers defense has played 2 really good offensives in Jonathan Taylor, Saquon Barkley, and that technically our biggest weakness right now is still our run defense. We gave up a whole bunch of yards against Saquon, and we gave up a whole bunch of yards against freaking Jonathan Taylor. So it's like Tyjae Spears and Tony Pollard should have a field day, at least in my opinion. But then again, now here, I was just talking about a couple minutes ago, the Titans offensive line is technically the worst out of these 3 teams because, the Eagles have really good O-line and also do the Colts. So I think that, the run game for the Packers should be just about the same, but I do think the Packers are going to create a lot more pressure on sacking the quarterback because I think they only have like 2 or 3 sacks this year, mainly against Jalen Hurts. But again, this Titans offensive line is a lot weaker than the Eagles and the Colts. And I think that the Packers D-line is going to have a field day against Will Levis. And now we're going to be talking about the Titans defense versus the Packers offense. And out of these 3 weeks, the Packers defense, the Packers offense is going to be facing the best out of these defenses because looking at the stats, the Titans have the best yards per game when it comes to the rushing and the passing. 206 yards overall, 228 on the passing, and 185 on the ground game. Total for the year, that averages out to be freaking 92 yards per game for running and 114 for the passing game, which is really good, by the way, because the Bears, their offense definitely a little sus, Caleb Williams and all that. But I will say holding the Jets to only 24 points. But, holding Aaron Rodgers under 200 yards. The run game for the Jets wasn't that good. But, the Titans offense, the Titans defense, when it comes to not allowing a lot of yards, is obviously the best in the league. We're literally number 1 in both of those stat categories. So that is a big thing to look at. But also, the Titans don't turn over the ball as much. They only have 1 fumble on the year, which is a fumble recovery, of course, but no interceptions as of right now. So it's good that the Titans defense is holding them down to like a lot of 3 and outs, getting them halfway down the field, not preventing a lot of field goals. But they don't turn over the ball, and that's what the Packers are really good at too, is not turning over the ball. Now we're going to be talking about the Packers offensive side. We all know Malik Willis had a pretty good game against the Colts. He went 12 for 14, 122 yards and a touchdown. Really good passer running. Then, of course, the player of the game was definitely Josh Jacobs. 32 carries for 151 yards, which is absolutely insane. And granted, the Colts defensive line wasn't too good. DeForest Buckner was already banged up. So, I will take that with a grain of salt as well. And the Titans defense is, again, I keep saying it, but the Titans defense is definitely better than the Colts. I think, at least for now, the Titans defense is also better than the Eagles defense. So, this is the biggest test for the Packers this week for sure. I will say right now, I do think Malik Willis will be playing this game. I said it earlier in the video. I don't think Jordan Love's completely ready yet. So, I think this game plan is going to be run all over again against this Titans defense. And I don't think it's going to be enough running. Well, not enough running compared to last week against the Colts, but I do think it's going to be a significant of the game plan for sure. I do think we're going to be taking a couple of deep shots more since L'Jarius Sneed's having a really bad year and their number 1 cornerback. The secondary is not playing too bad. Of course, look at the yards. It's really good, but, with takeaways, they're not taking over the ball a lot. But I think the Packers might take a couple more shots down the field. Malik Willis, we're just going to see how it goes. But, again, I keep saying it, but I don't think Jordan Love will be playing this game. I remember in my last video saying that the Colts and Packers are going to be really high-scoring game, but end up being a really low-scoring game. I actually do think it's going to be a low-scoring game right here. I say between a field goal or a touchdown, when it comes to the end of the game. I do think the Packers should win this game. I really like our defense against their offense. I don't think Will Levis is a great quarterback at all. I think he's going to throw at least 2 interceptions this game. I think the Titans' run game might do pretty good again, since that's what the Packers always do. But I think Will Levis is going to throw at least 2 or 3 interceptions. I think Malik Willis is going to have a revenge game on the Tennessee Titans. I do think the score is going to be 24-17. I think it's going to be really close. I don't think it's going to be complete high-scoring, 30-plus points for both teams. But again, this is assuming that Malik Willis is playing. If Jordan Love is playing, I think it's going to be high scoring, of course, for the Packers because it opens up a lot more things. But let me know down in the comments, Titans and Packers fans, if you're watching this video, if you think I'm right, if you think I'm wrong, whatever. I like to see comments down below for sure. I interact with quite literally everybody. But I'm out of here. Deuces.